Everyone and their uncles are probably familiar with Game of the Year, yearly live streams nominating the various games that have released throughout the year to decide which one is the best. And secretly see if Nintendo announces a new thing like Joker from Persona 5 and Smash Ultimate. I waited all year to get excited for that? Now, in all honesty, I think the Game Awards are really cool shows. I never really watched much of them per se. I'd mainly tune in every so often just to see if there's any new announcements or to see if certain games I personally liked won Game of the Year. But, from a gamer's perspective, it can't be denied how cool it really is. And speaking of which games won Game of the Year, I just wanted to talk about my personal Game of the Years. And when I say years as plural, I mean years as plural. Like going through the various years starting from the year I was born being 2004 up to 2024, and just determining which game that released in that respective year was my favorite. And one more thing. Every game I talk about for each respective year is my opinion and my opinion only. I'm not going off of anyone else's thoughts here besides my own. So if you're wondering why for 2009 I don't go with this game or that game or that game or this game, and instead I go with this game, that's why. So don't take any of it seriously. This is all my opinion. And if you have any favorite games from any respective year in gaming, please feel free to share. But without further ado, let's jump right into today's video and talk about my Game of the Years. Let's start off with the year that needs no introduction. Now, despite being a solid enough year for gaming, I never actually played many of the games offered in 2004. I know of games that came out in 2004 that were pretty big, like Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, Metroid Zero Mission, Pikmin 2, Super Mario 64 DS, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, but the only one out of the bunch that I have played was Paper Mario. That's cool. Hey, wait a minute, I don't even like RPGs, what sense does that make? Now, RPGs are not my favorite genre. Just the overall way the game plays out with battles, taking turns attacking each other in worlds that can be rather difficult to progress in if you don't understand what the objectives are asking from you, and in order to complete them, you have to dedicate a lot of time into doing so. I'm talking dozens to even hundreds of hours, and really, just the overall genre has never exactly resonated with me compared to others. But Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door on the other hand, now this shit I could get behind. I never went into this game with high expectations when I first gave it a try in June 2020. All I thought was, oh wow, a game I had sitting on my bedroom shelf for 9 years can finally be played without losing save data. That's so cool. It was almost like getting a brand new game. Yeah, a brand new game that's been out for almost 16 years at that point, totally a new game. But I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It wasn't just because it was a Mario game, it was also because it was unlike anything I'd played during that time. The story was whimsical, the writing was exceptional, the characters were neat, the battles were actually fun. I just found myself really invested in this game from beginning to end. Now, the difficulty was kind of annoying, and not being able to skip past cutscenes you already watched before getting a game over was also kind of annoying, but as an RPG, I genuinely liked it. I'm still not much of an RPG person though, despite finding this game a fun time, and I just think that could be due to the game feeling designed more for people who aren't into RPGs all that much, like as a starting point for individuals who want to get into the genre without feeling overwhelmed with the complex mechanics and battles. I'm still not much of an RPG person though, so please don't recommend me your Fire Emblems or Final Fantasies. This was just a one and done. And because this game feels like that, and also because there really wasn't much else in 2004 that I've personally played, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is my personal favorite game of 2004. Mario Kart DS. That's shocking. So Mario Kart DS is the only game from 2005 I've played, much like 2004, despite being years since I last played it. And it feels kinda weird having a multiplayer-oriented game like this as my favorite, a handheld one no less. But what else can I choose? I didn't really play any other games that came out that year. But other big games from 2005 include Resident Evil 4, Psychonauts, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, and even Shadow of the Colossus, although again, never played these. And despite being the only game from the year that I've played, Mario Kart DS was a fun enough time. I mean, any Mario Kart game is. And while the game is no longer in my possession these days, I still have vivid memories from my early years of gaming back when I did play it, so yeah, that's a reason to make people leave the video. Okay, now we're finally getting into the years with actual games I played. Who would have thought? New Super Mario Bros. Is a game I borrowed from a friend back in 6th grade, and while I never completed it, I think I got to the middle of the second world somewhere, I thought it was a fun little time waster in the end. Sure, it was just the beginning of 2D Mario becoming more safe and unoriginal in later years, but this game right here was solid enough from what I've played. Now, Excite Truck was also a game I played from 2006, and while it was a rather forgettable racing title in the end, it was pretty fun, I'll give it that. But I already went with the racing title before. That'd be boring if I went with another in literally the year right after the last one. Now, I could say I played Twilight Princess if I want to start lying. I'm not. However, there is one game from 2006 that I connected with on a level no other game that came out that year could, and that is... actual game. So yeah, I'm going with Wii Sports because man, do I love this game. The motion controls were fun, the sports selection worked beautifully with showcasing motion controls, and the game still holds up beautifully. Sure, it has the feel of a tech demo and is very simple in the grand scheme of things in terms of gameplay and visuals, but on top of being the entire damn point of the game, I don't care, I'm going with Wii Sports. Shame doesn't slow me down. 2007 was a great year for gaming. So many masterpieces, so many classics, just so much love and attention into so many game releases that year. BioShock, Team Fortress 2, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, so scratch all of that and narrow it down to 2 because once again, 2 is the number of games from 2007 I've played. Are you surprised? Super Mario Galaxy and Portal, both of which are very good games. Mario Galaxy is a game I go way back with and is amongst one of my favorites of all time. Just the mastery of its level design and gameplay makes it such a wonderful game to play and look back on in retrospect. And it has an amazing soundtrack. Portal, on the other hand, is also an amazing game. Now, I didn't get around to playing this until late 2023 with the Portal Companion Collection on Switch, but man, Portal is so good, and I would actually say it's also one of my favorite games. The fact that you're traversing a research lab, getting taunted by AI, solving some of the most creative and clever puzzles I've ever solved in gaming with the Portal gun, which is also a very creative and original mechanic, and even the dark and sinister atmosphere that the game has via some of its environments and soundtrack, just makes Portal a really great game. But when all is said and done, as fantastic as both games are, I personally have to go with Super Mario Galaxy as I just like it a bit more. Don't get me wrong, I love Portal, but Super Mario Galaxy just does what it sets out to do better, but who knows, that may just be the nostalgia talking. Or coffee. And here we are with yet another year with so many incredible games, but yet I only played 2, not including Persona 4, Little Big Planet, and Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Mario Kart Wii and Super Smash Bros. Brawl are the 2 contenders in this race. Now, I very much liked both of these games back in the day, but if I had to choose one, I'd go with Mario Kart Wii to please my younger self. I'm not trying to repeat specific genres or franchises in other years, like choosing platformers for 5 years in a row, and many of them are from the Mario series, but Mario Kart Wii is the game I played more and had more fun with. Super Smash Bros. Brawl was excellent, and I do have a lot of nostalgia for it too, but I just feel more passionate towards Mario Kart Wii. You know the drill by now, we're back at a year with many amazing games releasing, but this time I've only played 1. And you gotta keep in mind, I don't always play the latest and greatest in the exact year it comes out. And I mean hell, in most cases, a lot of the best games I play are released years prior, like what I said with Portal not being played until 2023, 16 years after original release, or games like Minecraft not being played until 2015, 4 years after release. Just understand that when a lot of these games come out, I'm usually either too young to play or was in a phase where I didn't want to play anything other than Mario. So just keep that in mind when you don't see games like Skyrim in the 2011 slot or whatever. Just know that I haven't gotten around to play it yet. Now, I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to play every game, but just saying, I definitely have plans to get into more different and unique games going forward. But going back to 2009, the game I'm going with as my game of the year is... This game came out in a time when the new Super series hit its peak, and many would even say the series got tiresome here. And while it pains me to say that I agree with that also, it's a me thing, you'd have to be me to understand. You gotta admit how fun this game was in multiplayer. This was the game for my family and I to play together back in the day, even more so than Mario Kart and Smash Bros., and I love it as a result. Sure, now that we live in a post-Mario Wonder era, there probably isn't much reason to return to this series, but man, New Super on Wii gave me so many amazing experiences that I will forever cherish, even if it was one-upped 14 years later. Now, 2010 had quite a lot to offer when you really analyze it. I just have no damn clue how that lot holds up critically because I barely played any of them. But really, outside of a couple of games, 2010 actually seemed a bit more boring in terms of releases. Like, what was the most memorable game that released? FIFA 11? Just Dance 2? Metroid Other M? Like, sure, Metroid is a big name, but Other M specifically is the one that nobody really talks about, and when it is, it's usually talked about in a divisive light. But like most other 2010 releases, I didn't play it. I could go with Super Mario Galaxy 2 though. That I did play, and it's a fingernail away from being just as phenomenal as Galaxy 1. But there was also Donkey Kong Country Returns, a great 2D platformer that I didn't play until 2018, and on the 3DS no less. But I would even say that despite the fact that playing the game on a bigger screen would have made the experience better for me, it was still a phenomenal game all things considered. There was even another game from 2010 that I also played, and it's because of which that I'm gonna avoid repetition and go with GoldenEye 007 on Wii. The N64 GoldenEye had its charm, and I won't take the enjoyment I got out of it for granted, but the Wii version is... It's just better in every way, I'm sorry. Now, it took me a while to complete the campaign from beginning to end, but when I did, I found the game to be a ton of fun. The gameplay is fun, the missions are fun. I mean, let's be honest, who wouldn't want to be James Bond embarking on a secret mission? The characters and story are great. Visually, I always thought it was pretty top-notch for a Wii title. And overall, while I'm not the biggest James Bond fan in the world, I mean, hell, I still haven't even seen any of the movies yet, which I really want to do eventually, the Wii game is... it's just really good. And actually, this is yet another game that came out a long time ago that I finally got around to playing within the last few years. And I think that truly helps me appreciate these games a lot more due to me being older compared to when I was younger. Yeah, because every 6-year-old in 2010 would totally get behind this.
Where the hell is the overalls?
Now, 2011, much like 2007, was actually a really good year for gaming overall, although 07 was still better in my opinion. But 2011 felt like everything 2007 was, just slightly less. But only slightly though. We got a follow-up to Portal with Portal 2, a fantastic sequel to an already fantastic game, Super Mario 3D Land, probably the best of the portable mainline Mario games aside from Mario Land 2 on Game Boy. I'm going with Minecraft. Yeah, so if I didn't make it clear before, Minecraft is one of my favorite games of all time. Now, technically Minecraft released in 2009 first as an early alpha build of the game, but 2011 was when the first full game released, so it doesn't matter what Mojang's marketing wants me to believe, I still believe this is a 2011 release first and foremost. Which is also my motto. And I know there's different versions of the game on different consoles, but Minecraft is Minecraft, and you can't change my mind otherwise. Yes, even you, Switch version. Now, when I first experienced this game on Wii U in 2015...
because yes, I do have standards.
I found it to be mind-blowing. Crafting your own world out of the various blocks that there are and building literally anything you want with nothing stopping you whatsoever just became so much fun. I'm still learning about everything you could do in Minecraft, and even the fact that updates are still coming out for the game years after release just shows the popularity that the best-selling game of all time still has. What the f***? Now, on the complete opposite end of 2011, 2012 kinda sucked. Like, what kind of game released in 2012 got anyone going?
Nice.
It was boring. There was barely anything to remember about 2012 outside of the release of Nintendo's biggest regret and some games releasing on it at that. And wouldn't you guess, my game of the year is on it. Now you're probably wondering, what game is that?
Yeah, this works.
Now, Nintendo Land isn't a personal favorite of mine. However, that's not to say it's bad or anything. It's a great game, all things considered. But I just don't have that strong attachment to it the same way I have one to Wii Sports or Super Mario Galaxy or anything like that. I kind of just went with it because there really wasn't anything in 2012 besides this that A, I haven't played, or B, just wasn't all that exciting. Could I have went with New Super Mario Bros. 2 or New Super Mario Bros. U? Yes, but Nintendo Land is more original than those games ever were. And for being a multiplayer heavy game, I got a lot of fun out of it, and it's still great, but like everything else in life, it's just not Wii Sports. Now, this was a step up from 2012. Super Mario 3D World, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Is it bad that he chose a Mario game over a Zelda game? Mario 3D World got a lot of unneeded flack due to the demand for a Mario 64 type game at the time, and instead of giving fans what they want, we got a sequel to a 3D Mario game that was the least similar to that original Nintendo 64 game in every possible way, ranging from the linear level design to the lack of open-ended progression. And while I personally prefer that style over 3D Worlds, damn, 3D World is fantastic, and I even like it more than Odyssey. Level design, despite being linear, was crafted so seamlessly. The power-ups are phenomenal, the music is some of the best in the franchise, there's just so much to love about 3D World. And don't get me wrong, I love Wind Waker HD, but I think it'd be fair going with the game I actually completed for a change, because oh wow, you love a game you haven't even finished yet? Wow, you really are a gamer. And here we have yet another year of greats. We got the Lego Movie this year, and I've been happy since. But gaming-wise, this year always stuck out to me as being a really unique one. Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Yeah, 3 games, totally something to make the whole year great for gaming. And while this one was a bit difficult to choose because all 3 games are phenomenal, I may have to go with Tropical Freeze for a change just because of how masterfully designed the whole package truly is. Don't get me wrong, I would have been more than content going with Mario Kart or Smash, but Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is just so damn good. It's one of the best platformers of all time, and I would even say it stands amongst one of the best games of all time. It's hard though, like really hard, but I don't care, man. This game is phenomenal. And even if 2015 may not surpass it, I think 2014 laid the groundwork for so many amazing games to follow in later years. Well, I wasn't wrong. 2015 was a very different year from 2014. Not entirely bad at all, just very who gives a shit. Like what? FNAF 3 and 4? More FIFA? Minecraft story mode because apparently everyone who played Minecraft went,
You know, I love Minecraft, but where's the story mode?
yes. Hope you found out what you were looking for. Now, I'll give 2015 this. There were some genuinely really fantastic games that released. Undertale, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rocket League, and on the Nintendo side, there was Splatoon and Super Mario Maker. But also on the Nintendo side, there was some garbage, most likely some of the worst the company has ever developed. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Chibi Robo Ziplash, which I personally don't think is as bad as everyone says it is, all that. So frankly, to say that it was one of the company's better years would be pushing it too far. However, out of all 2 games from 2015 that I've played between Chibi Robo Ziplash, which is kind of just a painfully average 2D platformer at best, I'm going with Super Mario Maker, because that's not a slightly average 2D platformer at best. Mario Maker might be a dead game now, especially since it's no longer officially possible to play the game online anymore, but the idea of making your own 2D Mario levels in 4 different game styles was an ingenious concept, and the execution was sublime. I had so much fun with Super Mario Maker. Sure, it has a follow-up on the Nintendo Switch that pretty much expands upon every aspect the original game has and then some, but even if Mario Maker 1 isn't going to be played much going forward, the memories and nostalgia cannot take away from how great this game truly was for its time. Oh boy, another year! Let's see what games I played that came out in 2016. Oh. Yeah, so funny story, I never played any game that actually came out in 2016. Not Uncharted 4, Doom, Stardew Valley, Persona 5, Kirby Planet Robobot, Paper Mario Color Splash. I did play No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky it is. This is a really cool space adventure game where you're exploring an infinite universe, landing on different planets and doing whatever the hell a really cool space adventure game from 2016 expects from you. Now, I only started playing this very recently, so I'm still learning everything there is to learn here, but from what I've played so far, it's turning out to be really solid. Now, this game's development was sort of a roller coaster for the development team, which I won't be getting into specifics, but to see the game evolve itself from what it was in 2016 makes the game even more impressive. Okay, so 2017 is probably the best year for gaming in my opinion. Not only on the Nintendo side, but the entirety of gaming as a whole. We got stuff like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, ARMS, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario + Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Cuphead, The Crash Insane Trilogy, Sonic Mania, Metroid Samus Returns. Holy crap, what a great year for gaming this was. And while Super Mario Odyssey was the best you could ever ask for Mario up until that point, I'd be kidding myself if I didn't go with Breath of the Wild. Now, I already talked about this game at length before, so I'm not going to say much about it here, but while it was a very close tie between this and Odyssey, Breath of the Wild absolutely needs to win. It completely defined the open world genre and the entire Zelda series too, and it was my first romp through a true open world and left a huge impact on me and my view on games. So it doesn't matter how good the Sonics for this year were, or the Marios, or how bad the 1-2 Switches were, I'm still going with Breath of the Wild. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. 2018 was a bit more bland compared to 2017 in regards to big-name franchises coming back. I mean, sure, there was Mega Man 11, the Spyro Reignited trilogy, Super Mario Party, and Kirby Star Allies to keep the year going, but it was ultimately Smash Bros. That really had people excited for 2018. And yeah, man, Smash Ultimate is amazing. It's pretty crazy that it took 14 years into my life to finally pick a Smash Bros. As my game of the year. Like, what the hell is going on here? But no, actually, Smash Ultimate was an amazing game, and one that I could actually say is my game of the year, so hopefully this is just the beginning. 2019 was a year that could almost rival 2017 as one of the best. Not quite though, I still think 2017 left a bigger impact overall, but 2019 was still pretty solid as well. Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Astral Chain, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Untitled Goose Game, Super Mario Maker 2, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Remake, Luigi's Mansion 3. There was a lot to 2019, and while Mario Maker, Link's Awakening, and Luigi's Mansion 3 are all equally fantastic in my opinion, I think Luigi's Mansion 3 actually surpasses all of them. I genuinely love this game. I mean, I was already a big Luigi's Mansion fan before with the first 2 entries, but 3 just took the best from both of those games and just made something amazing. The gameplay is fun, the mechanics are fun, the level design is fun, and this is arguably the best looking and personality driven Nintendo game there is. Like, how did I not expect to love this game as much as I did? But to give the other contenders a chance, it was a close tie between Mario Maker 2 and Link's Awakening, both of which are phenomenal as well. I just think Mansion 3 just had something special crafted into it that really made it surpass both of them, honestly. Now, 2020 was a weird year, and by looking at the game releases for that year will certainly reflect that. There wasn't really much compared to 2019, but there was definitely something. Paper Mario, The Origami King, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Crash Bandicoot 4, Clubhouse Games. You can't tell me that developers didn't try in the midst of everything going on at the time. But while it was still a weird year overall, I kinda have to go with Animal Crossing New Horizons. I didn't really play a whole lot other than Paper Mario The Origami King, which was just an okay game at best. But Animal Crossing New Horizons, on the other hand, was really fun. And a game like this is exactly what the world back in 2020 needed. Just escaping on a deserted island, interacting with digital neighbors, and doing whatever the hell just made New Horizons a pretty fun time. Now, this game lost a little bit of steam for me over time, but I still like it. It's still a pleasant and fun game to play in the end, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Except for that.
Now, while 2021 didn't fully see the end of the weirdness brought on by 2020, it certainly was a step up. Metroid Dread, Mario Party Superstars, Mario 3D World, plus Bowser's Fury, new Pokemon Snap, there was certainly a lot more here. However, my game of the year, despite Metroid Dread being absolutely fantastic, was Bowser's Fury. I already chose Mario 3D World for 2013, but the Bowser's Fury part of the package is what I'm choosing for 2021. Just the open-ended level design of the game combined with the mechanics and gameplay of 3D World just made it a joy to behold. Now, I want to make it clear that I love Metroid Dread. It was truly a phenomenal game from top to bottom, and it was tough not choosing this over Bowser's Fury. But I don't know, man, I just enjoyed it a bit more, and I'm sure others could probably say the same thing. Another year, another one ending with the number 2 at the end emerges. It wasn't really as good as 2021 in terms of big name releases, but there were certainly some great ones. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, none of which are games I've played. I'm going with Nintendo Switch Sports. I have no shame. Now, much like Nintendo Land for the 2012 portion earlier, Nintendo Switch Sports just doesn't quite hit the mark when it comes to recapturing the magic of Wii Sports, especially since this is a successor in the exact same series. It's not a bad game by any means. I mean, I had fun with it, but with some really weird design decisions and only having 5 sports that aren't all too distinct from the other, waiting till fall to put out golf, 7 months after release, yeah sure, that's how to make a Wii Sports on Switch, and basketball 2 years later to make me ask the obvious, replacing the Miis with generic avatars that simply doesn't do what they set out to do all that well, and just an embarrassing amount of content overall kind of just makes Switch Sports fine. Why do I like this game significantly more now 2 years later? Now, to not get anything twisted here, I accept that Switch Sports is not as good as the original Wii Sports. I accept that it has its problems. I accept that people who are expecting this to surpass the original game was disappointed. But man, did this game grow on me. When it first came out, and even for a while after, I was kind of being hard on it for not living up to standards of other big first-party games on the platform. I knew that I did like it for what it was, but not a whole lot though. And I kind of fell off of it too for the longest time. But after coming back to it more recently, and after the basketball update, I kind of realized that this game is actually better than I initially thought. Maybe I'll re-review this game again in the future, since my thoughts have changed quite a bit since 2022. But for now, I'm quite content going with Switch Sports as my game of the year for 2022. Not only because I didn't play any of the other releases that year, except for one I forgot to mention at the start, being Pac-Man World Repack. It's a fun little remake of a 3D platformer that came out in 1999, and it's a really good game too. So I at least wanted to give it an honorable mention. But in the end, bias reigns supreme and Switch Sports still comes out on top. Now, I want to start this year off with a very important question.
Do you have a sequel to one of your favorite games of all time that got a sequel in 2023 but isn't as good as another game that came out in 2023 that's a 2D platformer?
Because that's 2023, alright. It was actually a really good year for gaming overall, with so many heavy hitters. Pikmin 4, Fire Emblem Engage, Sea of Stars, Spider-Man 2, which I forgot to mention the original in the 2018 spot, so sorry about that, Spider-Man fans. However, I think when it comes down to it, 2 games reign supreme. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now, Tears of the Kingdom, as a game, is phenomenal, even more than its predecessor. However, as a sequel to Breath of the Wild, it falls flat pretty hard. which, I mean, it is better than Breath of the Wild technically, but it just doesn't have the same pleasure and joy as that game did. And 100% didn't leave the same impact on me, which is why it didn't win in this slot. Now again, I already said this in another video, so I don't want to spoil anything here, but long story short, Mario Wonder is just better to me. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door Remake.
What a surprise. And those are all my personal Game of the Years from 2004 up to 2024. And I know most game choices were rather questionable, like choosing multiple Mario games for multiple years in a row, and other years where I only chose a game because that was the only one I played in that respective year. Like, what the hell, that shouldn't count. Do I plan to make a follow-up to this sometime in the next 20 years? I hope so. Hopefully. And again, if you have any favorite games from any respective year in gaming, please feel free to share. But please do not tell me how I missed other candidates that make more sense to be Game of the Year material, because... come on, man, I'm only human.
And that's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider subscribing and checking out my other videos on the channel where you'll find more videos like this one. And again, thank you all so much for watching, and see you next time.